Mrs. Gerber here with another library lesson. Today we are moving on to a brand new unit. So we just got done with coding and now we are moving on to engineering. Now we are going to go through the engineering design process. So I'm going to be explaining each of those steps today. And you should have received a kit like this from your teacher. If you are a remote student, they are out front for you to pick up. So you will want that starting next week. And the reason why I sent these is since we can't be at our launch pad creating, I wanted you to at least have some materials to get started. Now, don't worry about what's in these kits yet. Save it for our next lesson, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started and learn a little bit about what are engineers and what is the engineering design process. So we'll be ready to dive right into our project next time. Let's take a look at this nonfiction book called Engineers Are Problem Solvers. Remember, with nonfiction books, they start with a table of contents. Our first heading says, Engineers Solve Problems. Have you crossed a bridge? Engineers designed it. Did you flush a toilet today? Engineers designed that too. Engineers design toys. They send rockets to space. Engineers solve problems. They use math, science, and technology. Engineers design big and small buildings. They design roads too. This heading says engineers at work. Engineers see a problem. We need a new playground. Look at that rusty old playground. They imagine different solutions. Then they choose the best one. Next, engineers create the design. They draw plans. They build a model. A model shows what the finished design will look like. They test the design. Oh, something doesn't work. This is a new problem to solve. The engineer looks for a solution. Are you a problem solver? You could be an engineer. And then they have a maker challenge here, which we'll get to do our own challenge soon. And a photo glossary of all those important bold print words. And there's the index. And that was called Engineers Are Problem Solvers. Now let's talk about all the steps of the engineering design process. So look at this first one here that says ask. Do you recognize what that is in pink? Did you say question mark? Yes, we are asking questions like what's the problem? Then down here that word says imagine, or we brainstorm. We think up of all different types of possible solutions that could solve that problem. Down here, plan. We draw it and make a material list. Then over at the hammer, here's the fun part. Create. Make it. Try it out. And then improve with our thumbs up here. We make it better. And sometimes we might need to keep going around and around through that cycle until we get it just right. So let's go ahead and review that. First step one was ask. Ask questions about your design or task to make sure you understand it. Step two, imagine. What will the end result look like? What could it look like? Step 3, plan. Plan out the process and the steps you will take. Notice she has a pencil and paper. She's going to sketch out her design. Step 4 is the fun part. Create. Create your design or task using the plan that you created, looking off at that sketch. And step 5 is improve. Improve the design to make it better. It says if needed. This is where we test it out and then fix it and make it better if it's not the way that we want it. And those are all the steps of the engineering design process. Here I am in Seesaw, so you can see number 1 says to watch the video, which was in there, and I also added a link here this time. Then tap the Add Response button, so let's do that. The directions here say after listening to the Engineers Are Problem Solvers book, record yourself answering these 2 questions. So you will use this button right here to record. And the first question says, what is an engineer? The second question says, how do engineers solve problems? Okay, and you can tap this little caption button if you need those 2 questions read to you again. Once you're done recording and answering those questions, click the green check to send it to me.